Hey everybody, this is Disco Deck Gandalf.
How's it going, y'all? Anyway,
The reason I'm making this video is because I want to bring attention to a pretty important cause here.
you see, a good friend of mine, who I've known for a literal half decade now, just for a little background story, we met on a mobile game known as Game of Sultans, and we've been really good friends since. This particular friend of mine,
Who will be called Coco Nutty. She's having a really, really tough time right now.
specifically speaking, she was in a car accident on May 9th of 2023. And since then, she's been having a lot of difficulties with getting help for her situation. Namely, she has medical issues resulting from it, which in this case includes an abscess on her gums. And unfortunately, she's been having difficulties finding someone to help with those issues, namely a dentist or endodontist. Coco will go into detail on what those issues are shortly in her portion of the video. But I will say that those issues have taken a toll on her mental health. Thus, she is at her wit's end. And what makes matters worse is that she is financially strapped. Her family is really, really poor. And while she does have insurance, the people under her insurance, their help is either pretty dismal or basically non existent at all. Besides being financially strapped, there is another reason for this, and that's because of discrimination against autistic people. And I wish I was making this up, by the way, but according to what I researched pertaining to this issue, it's, believe it or not, actually really true. One fact that stood out for me pertaining to an article I read on this is that there are dentists and endodontists out there that believe that the teeth of autistic people are not worth saving. Yup, you heard that right, folks. It is rooted in the assumption that autistic people can't take care of their own teeth, to which I asked around a few other people I know who either happen to be autistic themselves or, at the very least, closer to or related to someone that is autistic. And their response was that it was basically BS. So it's no wonder why her mental health is in the current state that it is in right now. Like I said early on, the accident occurred on May 9th, 2023, so she's had to go through this whole thing for practically an entire year now. She will also go into detail about her past medical history at some point during her portion of the video. And let me tell you, it's gonna make you question the state of healthcare even more than you already do now. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on this. Now, before we transition into Coco's story, there was one quick thing I wanted to bring up, and that there may be a possible tie-in to this fundraiser in the form of animated shorts to commemorate whatever goal is achieved throughout this entire fundraiser. Whether that will happen or not, I do not know. But we shall see about that. And now, without further ado, Coco Nutty will now tell you her story. Sit back and enjoy.
Hi everyone. You can call me Coco Nutty. It's not my real name. I'm just very, very shy. I've been through a lot. I have severe PTSD and severe anxiety. I also have asthma. I have a tendency to have asthma and panic attacks whenever I get the slightest bit stressed. You see, on May 9th of 2023, I was in a horrible car accident and I got hit in the face with an airbag. Because of this accident, it caused me some dental issues. It's been a true nightmare trying to get it fixed. I've traveled all over the place, to many dentists, to a number of endodontists, but a lot of people tend to discriminate against me because I'm autistic. There are a lot of people that think just because I'm autistic, my teeth just aren't worth saving because we don't have good dental hygiene. But that's not always true. We went to so many dentists and endodontists. We don't actually have any that's within 100 miles of where I live. Every single time we've gotten an appointment, one of a few things happened. People that take my insurance, basically the dentist that will accept it, they just want to automatically pull my teeth without really doing anything. But the people that don't take my insurance and need to pay, they say they can fix them. Because of how I am and how crazy my health is, when I was in that wreck, just a few days past it, I ended up getting an abscess on my gum. And then later, when I went to a dentist that was trying to help me, but before this, I had went to another place and gotten some x-rays. And I got those x-rays and sent them over to this dentist. The dentist actually ended up collapsing one of my teeth. The staff told me they had the x-rays, but she told me she didn't. I've been told so much at this point, I just don't know what to do. I don't actually know how much longer I can keep doing this before I do something drastic. Every single time I get my hopes up, it's like someone takes a hammer and smacks me back down, crushing my hopes. It's difficult to do this. Basically, what we've been doing since the car accident, we've made appointments with people, and then after, usually it takes months, and then we drive sometimes as far as 4 hours away, and, well, they just send us away and say they either can't help us because of my issues, and then we have to make another appointment, which is a bunch of months away, and us driving there. Because of my issues, I also have a severe needle phobia. Very bad. Because of this, and my anxiety that's so severe, and my PTSD that's so severe, the only way to handle me, depending on the work done, certain work, if it's something like a root canal or something, I could handle that in the office with nitrous just fine, the nitrous gas. But if it's something that involved stitches and a lot of blood, I'd need to get put in the hospital and knocked out cold. It's tricky with me. My family has a rather bad history with needles in general. I have a tendency to have a lot of stuff happen to me, like the anxiety and asthma attacks. When I went to this one place, a big dental school of some sort, I told them specifically that I had severe PTSD and severe anxiety, and not to tell me the results of the said x-rays, because I knew that I would have an asthma and panic attack. But they did just that. They told me the results. I freaked out and nearly passed out in the office because of how bad my asthma can get. If I get freaked out enough, it's a possibility that I can be put in the hospital. It happened a lot to me as a child. I told the dental school people to only tell the results to my grandparents. I knew that if I had heard the results directly from them, I would have an asthma and panic attack. But they told me the results anyway, and the exact thing I thought would happen, happened. It's very tricky handling stuff. I really don't know what to do anymore. It's like every dentist is against me, every endodontist. All I want to do is get my teeth fixed and them not freak me out. But in truth, I'm wondering if my nightmare of this will ever actually end, and will I potentially have to deal with this for the rest of my life? I really don't know the answers to that. It's so difficult. I wish people would have a bit more compassion, but at the rate I've seen it, I really don't know anymore, at least for the dentists and the endodontists. I've been freaked out multiple times by people that didn't listen to me on that. I hate freaking out like this with those things, but it's not anything I can help. Some people have just told me to deal with the needles, but when you have such severe PTSD, it's not going to be easy, and you're more likely to have a fight or flight response. And if you're scared of needles enough, you could quite easily get so freaked out that you could run out of wherever you are and actually get hurt. But people don't think of the long runs in that. I really wish they did. I just want my nightmare to end. That's all I really want. I have trouble eating because of all of this. It's not fair that autistic people are treated like this. And I hope things go better for me in the future. But at current, my nightmare just continues. Something else that happened during that wreck, ever since then, every once in a while, my ear, it's sort of like a siren is randomly makes a sound in my ear. It's very annoying. It's another side effect from that crazy wreck. And unfortunately, I can't really get it treated. It sort of sounds like when you're holding a seashell up to your ear, but it's super glued to your ear, and there's no way to shut it off or make it go quiet. It drives me crazy. The best way I've handled it, but this is only a temporary thing, is by getting a white noise machine or having a fan, or both, but it's still pretty loud and still pretty annoying. Plus, it also reminds me of the ambulance that I rode in the day of the wreck. It absolutely totaled the car that day. Also, when we went to the hospital, we waited there hours and hours. Basically, some pretty crazy stuff. My fingers were so bent up, I thought they were broken, and despite me getting sprayed by stuff from when the airbag hit me in the face, the people there in that hospital were so rude. Just because my oxygen was 100%, but when you have asthma, especially if you've been sprayed in the face with certain things, it can still make it very difficult to breathe. They wouldn't let me take any breathing treatments. Also, it took me hours and hours and hours of waiting. And by the time I did finally go back, usually when the nurses do my blood pressure, after it's done, usually they just let me take it off, no problem. But this nurse forced me to put it back on just so she could take it off, even though it was already done. I told them that I was in 10 pain. They didn't even give me so much as an over-the-counter Tylenol. I was treated so badly that day. It was truly an insane experience. I ended up later having to buy some splints for my fingers because they were hurt and scratched up so bad. I had to buy Tylenol and those splints, and I had to wear them for a number of weeks, maybe even a couple months. I'm bad with time. But it was nothing but an insane thing. At this point, the abscess on my gum, I've had it on my gum for over a year. I haven't been able to find anybody to help me. It's so crazy. I really don't know what to do before I eventually do something drastic. I don't know how long I can take this, but the stuff they would do for if I was to pay is just so expensive. And my family's pretty poor, so there's no way I can actually get that done without a lot of negative things happening. Just by getting this stuff done, because it's so expensive for us, there's a big chance that if we actually paid the big entire bill of it, that we'd have to go hungry. That's just how expensive it is. I just hope things get better and the nightmare ends as soon as it can. I hope I'm not destined for the remainder of my life to be in pain. All I want is this nightmare to end and my teeth be fixed, and them actually try to do something about it. I am supposed to get some anxiety medicine and stuff for my PTSD, but there's a problem. When I was younger, I actually went to a doctor for it. He came from a country where men were below women. No, scratch that. Where women were below men. I get confused a bit sometimes. Basically, he locked me in his office and told me he wouldn't let me out until I said please. there was a bit of ironicness. Ironically, he went by Dr. She, and it was a male. And because of a medicine he put me on, it ended up nearly killing me. And while I was on the medicine, how I acted, I was climbing all over the place. My best way to describe it is, if you've seen the Tarzan movie, think about a kid acting like that for 30 days. And then 30 days to the dot, them having a seizure and nearly dying. I've had some memory issues ever since. And when I tried to get some medicine for my anxiety and my PTSD, because of that, I have taken medicines in the past, but not as many since I was a kid. I actually took what's called a gene site test. I found out that when it came to those medicines, I was pretty much allergic to over 40 of them. And I definitely don't want to be used as a test monkey again. They basically want me to try medicines that have pretty much an 100% guarantee have a reaction on me and could end me up in the same way I did when I was a kid, but this time even worse. The doctor I had tried to put me on the best medicine she could. Even though I took the gene site test, they won't really do anything. So basically, I'm stuck with my mental state like that, because they won't even give me the medicine unless I do something to potentially kill myself again. It's pretty stupid, and I kind of have no choice but to just not take the medicine and deal with my mental issues on that, because they just won't. And the medicine she put me on that would do the best is far too expensive for me to actually afford, but it would be the best one for me. I just hope I can get people to work with me. Considering that and my dental issues, it's just been so crazy. I want all of this to end. That's my wish. But I don't know when it would end. I really don't. Am I destined for this nightmare to continue? And if not, I don't see the end in sight anywhere soon. I hope I can find it soon, but I really don't know. Please contribute and share. Thank you.